Hello, thank you all for joining us. We'll be starting in a couple of minutes. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We have now come to the last session of GSR-23, where we will receive reports from all GSR sessions, events, and pre-events. I am pleased to give the floor to Dr. Cosmas Lakison Zavazava, Director of the BDT, to give his welcoming remarks. Dr. Zavazava, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. We are almost there. GSR-23 has been a remarkable experience. Our discussions this week have been extremely productive, positive, and thought-provoking. This annual meeting, the most established and premier forum for regulatory discussions in the sector, gives us the opportunity to meet, share, exchange ideas, and identify and adopt best practices. It provides us with a platform to exchange information on topical regulatory and technological issues. That knowledge exchange breaks down key barriers that lie in our path to the power of digital transformation and sustainable digital future for everyone. The curtains of GSR-23 are coming down, but we should be satisfied with our achievements. Let us revisit some of the key developments. During the Regional Regulatory Associations meeting, we launched the Digital Regulation Network, a new incentive and initiative which seeks to facilitate information exchange among regulators, particularly in between two GSRs, to facilitate also twinning and help in skills and capacity building. It is my belief that it will strengthen cross-sector and cross-border collaboration and encourage harmonization in practices in the area of digital regulation. I would like at this point to invite Ms. Bridget Mpatso Lindsay, Executive Secretary, Communications Regulators Association of Southern Africa, CRASA, to present on behalf of our Regional Association's Chairman, His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Al-Tamimi, the outlines of the Regulatory Association's meeting held on the 5th of June, 2023. Bridget, the floor is yours.
Thank you, BDD Director, Dr. Cosmas Zavazava. Distinguished delegates, allow me first of all to thank the government and the people of the Republic of Egypt for the warm welcome and hospitality that we have received since we arrived in Egypt. And also to congratulate the ITU and the BDD Director for yet another successful GSR. I've been requested to present a report on the Regional Regulatory Associations meeting for 2023 on behalf of the chairman of the meeting, His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Al-Tamimi. The Regional Regulatory Association meeting, which was held as a pre-event to GSR-23 on Monday, 5th June 2023, was chaired by Engineer Abdullah Amubabada, sorry for the pronunciation, Deputy Governor on behalf of His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Al-Tamimi, the Governor of the Communications, Space and Technology Commission of Saudi Arabia. And he's also the chairman of the Arab Regulators Network of Telecommunications. During the meeting, as the BDT director has already alluded to, we've honored that there was a launch of the Digital Regression Network, DRN, which is the collaborative network of networks. Noting that this initiative will benefit the regional regulatory associations, as well as also regulators globally, it does aim to provide increased cross-regional and sectoral collaboration. This initiative, he said, will include twinning efforts to facilitate exchange of experiences and information, as well as enrich collaboration amongst the regulators. The BD director also called for support and commitment of partners to achieve impactful and tangible results. On behalf of His Excellency Dr. Tamimi, Engineer Abdullah, the Deputy Governor, expressed Saudi Arabia's pressure in supporting ITU on this initiative. The participants during the meeting emphasized the importance of collaboration and the need to consider multiple perspectives in order to align policies and regulatory approaches for global and regional consensus on addressing common issues related to digital transformation, as well as the delivery of digital services. Regional regulatory and other associations which were present during the meeting, in particular APT, stroke SATRC, the EPEG, RPEG, and CRASA, CTU, Fratel, Regulatel, and WATRA, highlighted ongoing activities as well as priorities that could be taken into consideration for the digital regression network. And these activities do include innovative regulatory approaches, regulatory issues, which include infrastructure sharing, quality of service, consumer protection, OTT services and application, digital platforms, emergency preparedness and responses, and protection of critical infrastructure, for example, the submarine cables. Also, another issue to be considered is the development of policies to support the 5G ecosystem and the deployment of 5G infrastructure. On spectrum-related issues, it was also considered if we could consider spectrum buy-ins for 5G, spectrum sharing, trading, harmonization, and governance, affordable access to spectrum, cross-border coordination issues, and satellite requirements, as well as challenges related to NGSO. And also how we can bring in digital literacy to our regions. To conclude, Regional Regulatory Association congratulated ITU for launching the Digital Regression Network, noting the importance of collaboration, cooperation, and exchange of ideas among regional regulatory associations and regulators everywhere. At the end of the meeting, 2 agreements were signed, and we did witness the signing of these agreements, which was the Memorandum of Understanding between the ITU and the European Mediterranean Regulators Group, which does establish a high-level framework of cooperation in the area of electronic communication and introducing more structured way for cooperation aiming at translating policy aspirations into concrete actions. The second one was the joint declaration between ITU and EMIG and the Eastern Partnership Electronic Communications Regulators Network. And this was concerning national broadband and infrastructure mapping. Thank you so much. As I submit the report of the RRA 2023 meeting On behalf of His Excellency, Dr. Mohammed Al Tamimi, the Governor of Communications, Space and Technology Commission of Saudi Arabia, as well as the chairman of Arab Regulators Network of Telecommunications. Thank you, Macy. Obrigado.
Bridget, thank you very much for presenting the Regulator Association's meeting results, and take this opportunity to thank Engineer Abdullah Al-Badal, Deputy Governor of Communications, Space and Technology Commission, Saudi Arabia, for chairing the Regulator Association's meeting on behalf of the Governor himself. Your annual meeting is a stepping stone to closer cooperation, starting with the exchange of information and best practices. We look forward to our continued collaboration with all regulatory associations as part of the new initiative. There was also another event which was held successfully. That's a meeting of the Industry Advisory Group on Development Issues, Private Sector Chief Regulatory Officers, otherwise known as YAGDCRO. It was held on the 5th of June. I would like now to turn to Mr. Bokaba, Chair of the Industry Advisory Group on Development Issues, Private Sector Chief Regulatory Officers meeting, to share industry's views on how they could contribute better to digital developments, working closely with the regulators. Mr. Ba, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. Good morning, Excellencies, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. As Chair of the Industry Advisory Group on Development Issues and Private Sector Chief Regulatory Officer meeting, I am pleased to update you about our group latest meeting, which was held as a pre-event of the GSR-23 on June 5th. In this meeting, we deliberated on the need to step forward collectively to achieve 100% connectivity, recognizing that doing so requires multifaceted incentives for the private sector, which are very important for maintaining sustainable flows of investment, fostering local engagement, building human and systemic capacity, and developing nationalized as well as regional innovation ecosystem powered by universal, accessible, affordable, and secure connectivity. The exchange of insights by our esteemed participant also helped refocus on addressing regulatory challenges, seizing opportunities, while at the same time reaffirming our preparedness to support regulatory endeavors around the world. Participants in the meeting focused on the urgent need to rapidly expand access to the internet for the remaining 2.7 billion people worldwide who are not yet connected by 2030. The participant also emphasized the significance of various industries and sectors in narrowing the usage gap, given that mobile broadband networks already reach 90% of the global population, and the well-established role of satellite industry in addressing connectivity challenges, including emergency communication, especially in least developed countries, so-called LDCs. There is a clear requirement to explore innovative approaches for fostering enduring partnership. The diversity of industry participants in the meeting also underpinned the criticality of overcoming regulatory challenges and embracing opportunities of this decade, which are catalyzing new changes in the way the ICT industry now operates and continues to evolve in view of iterative changes taking place across other industries and sectors, including the space sector. Such changes are fundamentally mandating cross-border industry collaboration on regulation, best practices, and new synergies. All acknowledge that societal and industry dynamics have changed, with different technologies now available to drive connectivity. This requires not only intensified collaboration between terrestrial and non-terrestrial service providers, but also collaboration between service providers and regulators with respect to adoption of regulatory framework that strike a balance for all ICT industry stakeholders. Such a balance can be achieved by establishing fair market access conditions for all technology and providers, including equitable spectrum access and technology neutrality, ensuring spectral efficiency and minimal interference, streamlining licensing regimes, reducing administrative fees, and encouraging partnership with local operators. More local engagement and investment by global digital players was called for alongside regulatory parity. IACD CRO meeting also highlighted the need for regulators to develop clear guidance and regulations of artificial intelligence to increase efforts regarding space sustainability. Moreover, to move forward and accelerate actionable measures and to put into force earlier recommendations made by IACD CRO and the ITU, the meeting reaffirmed the private sector's commitment to supporting governments, particularly the regulators, during today's volatile and ever-changing environment to achieve global common goals in the near and long term. Participants also agreed to play a more active role in supporting digital development work and to use existing networks to promote the ITUD sector for the purpose of recruiting more private sector members and promoting national digital transformation agenda. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate Ms. Lele Modise from MTN Group on her appointment as Vice Chair of IACD CRO. With this, on behalf of the IACD CRO leadership, I'd like to thank you for your audience and for being a part of this IACD CRO meeting update. I congratulate the BDT director, the ITU staff for successfully executing this large meeting as a part of the GSR-23, and for the ITU's continued focus on fostering better collaboration with the private sector. As always, Sharm el-Sheikh has been a great place for us to deliberate and exchange fresh perspective. Congratulations to NTRA Egypt and the people of Egypt for their hospitality. Stay well, and I wish you all continued success. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Boka. We do appreciate the views coming from industry, and we encourage industry to continue innovating for a better world and also to consider partnering with us to implement impactful projects on the ground. Now, I want also to report to you that on the 5th of June, we also had the heads of regulators executive roundtable, and let me share some highlights. This year's session had some innovation in it. We invited regulators of non-ICT sectors to join the discussions. It was noted that collaboration across sectors in the digital space at national, regional, and global level is necessary. That we must bridge silos and advance collaborative governance. To non-ICT regulators, it was noted that by ICT regulators, to non-ICT regulators, it was noted by ICT regulators that they could function as facilitators in the digital space by applying the ITU G5 benchmark. Engineer El Gamal, I want to thank you for leading and coordinating GSR-23 guidelines on regulatory and economic incentives for an inclusive, sustainable digital future. I also thank all the ICT regulators and all stakeholders who contributed to making these guidelines a significant outcome of this forum. I'm now pleased to turn to Engineer Wassam El Gamal, Executive President, NTRA and GSR Chair, to report on the best practice guidelines adopted during this GSR-23. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Davazava. Maybe just before we start reading the conclusion, I just want to show from my heart a deep respect and appreciation for all delegates attending this session. The spirit of cooperation and the harmony, it was really remarkable. To be honest with you, although the session, and thanks for you moderating the session, it was beneficial, remarkable. But in my heart, I wanted to have more debates to make it longer, because really we enjoyed the views and intervention. It was very valuable for us. So allow me, I just prepared some points just to control the time. So I will read the conclusion from the papers. It's my pleasure to conclude the results of the efforts that have been concluded with regards to this year best practice guidelines document, with the title Regulatory and Economic Incentives for an Inclusive, Sustainable Digital Future. Ladies and gentlemen, as you may know, the consultation for these guidelines was launched in February 2023, and the first draft of the guidelines was published in May 2023, with 25 contributions by policymakers, national regulatory authorities, international organizations, industry bodies, and civil societies. In particular, this consultation sought ideas, views, and experiences on regulatory and economic incentives to stimulate the infrastructure deployment, especially in the rural, unserved, and underserved areas, and identifying the right enablers required to ensure the introduction of emerging ICT technologies and innovative business models. So once again, I have to deeply thank our partners for their insightful and rich ideas and guidance. As regulators and policymakers, we are aware that despite the fact that we have extended to our best efforts in ensuring inclusive connectivity to our citizens, we still face major obstacles in connecting the unconnected and bridging the digital gap. Therefore, the GSR-23 best practices guidelines were launched as an attempt to overcome these obstacles and cast a framework for innovative and sound regulatory patterns, while charting the way ahead for industry and regulators. These guidelines put forward principles and identify concrete actions using three main pillars. Firstly, incentives towards achieving meaningful connectivity. Secondly, incentives to support access, adoption, and the usage. And finally, cross-sector regulatory coordination and mutual reinforcement of the role between adjacent regulatory regimes. Ladies and gentlemen, from the guidelines concluded, we can see there are still identified challenges that need to be tackled by new approaches and maybe new concepts. So we do not only need to focus on connecting the unconnected, but also we need to continue making the connected as productive. In other words, from disconnectivity to connectivity to productivity, to ensure the contribution in the socio-economic development. Therefore, the ITU standardization and measurements could consider the factor of adoption of these guidelines and their impact in bridging the digital gap in our communities towards productivity. I call upon you all to disseminate and use the guidelines to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our GSR chair, for a job well done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now invite the BDT Director and NTRA Executive President to stand up for a photo opportunity of the best practice guidelines. Please join us here. Engineer Hossein, would you please join us? Thank you.
Okay, don't worry.
Thank you very much for this photo. Congratulations on the best practice guidelines. I'll now give the floor to Dr. Zavazava. Dr. Zavazava, the floor is yours.
So let me make some comments on GSR-23. There were many sessions on many important subjects at this GSR, totaling 14, excluding the official opening and this closing session. It is my faith and hope that you found all the sessions insightful, exciting, and stimulating. At this stage, I want to also inform you that for the first time at GSR, we held a power session of the Network of Women of ITUD. This session was held yesterday, and I would like to thank Dr. King Malaliu, who did an excellent job in moderating it. The message was loud and clear that we must close the digital gender divide. I thank the 300 plus women and men who assembled in that room over lunch and provided great insights as to how we could possibly bridge the digital gender gap. I must say, I'm committed to working towards the bridging of the gender gap, and we are going to strengthen our work towards this effort. We are going to have the next session of the NOW, or a Network of Women, at the upcoming TDAC from 19 to 23. And it is not just a question of meeting, we want results which are visible, because we are known for measuring the information society and we can track our achievements on the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, before we go to the closing ceremony, I want to invite Sophie Madens to come to the lectern and take the floor briefly.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So now we will be holding a Mentimeter. To participate in the Mentimeter, asking the technicians to please put up the code so that we can, so ladies and gentlemen, to participate in the Mentimeter, please scan the QR code with your phone. The QR code is available on the screens. Obviously, this is a big room, so if you cannot fixate on the code, please go to menti.com and enter the code, and I will read it to you. I will just give you a few seconds. The code is 4305604. I repeat, 4305604 on menti.com. The code will stay on the top of the screen if you just missed what I read. And the question is, what word summarizes GSR-23 for you? We will give you a few seconds to be able to respond. Director, I give you back the floor to read the exciting results of the Mentimeter.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let me assure you, first of all, there was no rigging. And the second, there was no cyber attack. The answer we have is collaboration. We too believe in collaboration, and we are going to incorporate this in our work. So we came, we saw, and we had fun. I invite you to watch this video, which is also going to be posted as a memento on the webpage of GSR-23, and you will be able to download it and share it with friends and family.
What a wonderful video. Now, I kindly ask Ms. Lindsay, Mr. Ba, Mr. Manievich, and Mr. Onoy to return to your seats in the front row. I kindly ask Mr. Engineer El-Gamal to remain seated on the podium, and Dr. Zavazava to please come to the lectern for the official closing of the GSR.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you will agree with me that this was a momentous event. I can firmly say that this GSRI has broken records in terms of the number of innovations, but also in terms of the numbers of participants. A total of 1,037 participants registered and 757 showed up. We also had 52 VIPs, and I think these are great achievements. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to express my profound gratitude to the government of Egypt and to Engineer El Gamal, Executive President of NTRIA, for taking the 22nd edition of GSR back to Egypt and also to new heights. Please join me in thanking our host for providing us with great facilities, for a very warm welcome to every one of us. I want to thank the NTRIA team for their hard work, kindness, and respect. I also want to thank the honorable ministers who joined us, heads of regulatory agencies, and the chiefs of industry for their immense contribution to the success of GSR-23. You might have noted that for the first time, GSR participants were able to benefit from sign language interpretation. We thank our hosts for making this possible. I also would like to express my thanks to all the moderators, panelists, and speakers for your invaluable contributions to make GSR-23 a remarkable success. To my ITU colleagues here at the Arab Regional Office in Cairo and back in Geneva, thank you for your professionalism and hard work. A special thanks goes to the engineers, technicians, conference staff, who have worked extremely hard to make the symposium an enormous success. I would also like to thank the interpreters for their patience and hard work. Some sessions required additional time, but you never complained. I would like to thank all of you here present and those who joined virtually. Without you, there is no GSR. We will send you a questionnaire for you to provide us with your proposed topics for the next GSR. We want to keep on growing and innovating. But again, we will also give you an opportunity for you to critique and to complement GSR-23. Your advice is invaluable for us. We want to make GSR-24 more special than this. Finally, I want to thank and congratulate our chairman, Engineer El Gamal, for his leadership and the able guidance throughout this event. And ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, let me end where I started. Let us regulate and connect for people, planet, and prosperity. Let us embrace and practice collaborative regulation across sectors, across borders, and across regions. Finally, let us continue to work and always remember that success is a ladder that cannot be climbed with your hands in your pocket. And we should not fear failure. As we say, to get lost is to learn the way. See you at the GSR-24 and good travels. Stay safe. At this point, I would like to invite Engineer Osam El Gamal to join me up at the lectern, please. The executive president of NTRIA is one of the most humble men I have met. he went an extra mile to make sure that we had everything that we needed. Always with a smile. We cannot thank him enough. I would like to extend a symbolical appreciation for his generosity, for his wise wisdom and guidance and leadership. And allow me to hand him this small certificate token, which marks his leadership at GSR-23, please. I think a certificate is just a piece of paper, something a little bit more tangible. I think would do justice to our appreciation. You can't see this because it's in the glass, but anyway, this is our token.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Zavazava. Engineer Hossein, would you please come to the lectern for your closing remarks? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Maybe you allow me to speak in Arabic. So السيد الدكتور كوزما زافا مدير مكتب قطاع التنمية بالاتحاد الدولي للاتصالات، السادة الأفاضل مديري قطاعات الاتحاد الدولي للاتصالات، أصحاب السعادة والمعالي الوزراء ورؤساء هيئات تنظيم الاتصالات، السيدات والسادة أعضاء الوفود الكرام، تحية طيبة وبعد. لقد شرفت بتحمل مسؤولية رئاسة الندوة العالمية لمنظمي الاتصالات عن عام 2023، وأشكركم كثيراً على جهودكم لإنجاحها والخروج بنتائج توافقية ومثمرة للجميع، والتي تحقق المصلحة المشتركة لمجتمعاتنا. على مدى الأيام القليلة الماضية شهدنا نقاشات حول مختلف الموضوعات والقضايا التكنولوجية والرقمية بهدف تطويع السياسات والأطر التنظيمية نحو مستقبل رقمي شامل ومستدام، بما يتطلبه من تقليص الفجوة الرقمية بين الريف والحضر وشمول المناطق الغير متصلة ضمن عملية التحول الرقمي. ضيوفنا الكرام، كما استعرضت خلال الكلمة الافتتاحية مقدار الجهد المبذول بحضوركم الفعلي من مسافات وساعات طيران طويلة قطعتموها للمشاركة في تلك الندوة، ولم يكن الهدف هو بيان إحصائيات فقط، ولكن كان تعبيراً عن تقديري للحرص الشديد من جانبكم على إنجاح هذا الحدث، والذي شارك فيه قرابة 700 متخصص وخبير في المجالات التنظيمية من أكثر من 100 دولة. ولذلك فإن هذا المؤتمر سيبقى دوماً ذو طابع خاص بالنسبة لنا جميعا وتجربة فريدة من نوعها، بما شهدته من مناقشات ومخرجات هادفة ومثمرة، بالإضافة إلى توقيع عدد من الاتفاقيات على هامش فاعلياته، ووجود معرض تكنولوجي كسابقة أولى لعرض أحدث التقنيات الحديثة، والذي يأتي انعكاساً لأثر الأطر التنظيمية التي نصدرها على مجتمعاتنا بما فيها من فائدة للجميع وتيسير تبني تلك التكنولوجيات على حياة البشر. السيدات والسادة، إن إطلاق الوثيقة الاسترشادية لمبادئ أفضل الممارسات تحت عنوان الحوافز التنظيمية والاقتصادية لمستقبل رقمي شامل ومستدام، والتي اعتمدناها اليوم، لهو أحد أبرز ملامح مخرجات هذه الندوة. لقد أكدت تلك التجربة أنه يجب علينا أن نعمل سوياً كي نعزز بيئة محفزة على الابتكار والاستثمار والمنافسة الحرة، مع الأخذ في الاعتبار متطلبات جميع الأطراف المعنية بالصناعة الرقمية والتي بنيت عليها تلك الوثيقة. كما أننا نتطلع أن يقوم الاتحاد الدولي بالأخذ في الاعتبار تلك المبادئ عند تبنيه للقياسات المستقبلية، وخاصة في سد الفجوة الرقمية، بهدف تقييم أثر تلك الوثيقة وانعكاسها على مجتمعاتنا بما يحقق النمو، خاصة في معامل الإنتاجية. تلك المخرجات لم تكن لتتحقق دون التوافق والتشارك الذي نجحنا في تحقيقه خلال فترة الندوة، والذي سيمكننا من مواجهة التحديات المستقبلية بروح الوحدة والمرونة اللازمة للمتغيرات المتسارعة في عالمنا. لذلك فإنني على ثقة تامة أننا سوف نغادر هذه الندوة حاملين معنا روح التعاون والابتكار على المستوى المهني، وروح الصداقة على المستوى الشخصي. وفي الختام أود أن أتقدم بالشكر إلى فريق عمل الاتحاد الدولي للاتصالات، وعلى رأسهم السيدة دورين بوجدان مارتن الأمين العام للاتحاد، والدكتور كوزما زافا مدير مكتب قطاع التنمية بالاتحاد، على ثقتهم وإتاحة الفرصة لنا لاستضافة تلك الندوة. وبالنيابة عنا جميعا أتقدم بالشكر إلى فريق الترجمة بشكل عام، وفريق ترجمة لغة الإشارة بشكل خاص. وأرجو هنا أن نتقدم بشكر خاص لتلك السيدة على المجهود الذي تبذله. شكرا. والشكر موصول لزملائي العاملين بالجهاز القومي لتنظيم الاتصالات ووزارة الاتصالات وتكنولوجيا المعلومات على الجهود المبذولة من الدعم اللوجستي والدعم التقني خلال فعاليات الندوة. ومرة أخرى أتقدم لكم بالشكر العميق، متمنيا لكم عودة آمنة لأوطانكم، آملين أن نرحب بكم في فعاليات أخرى مستقبلية. شكرا، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Just before going down to my seat, I would like to invite Dr. Zava. So you give me something, I have to give you something in return. This is just a souvenir from NTRA. So wish you like it.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now announce the session to be closed. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. It's a pleasure having you, and we hope to see you again very soon. Thank you.